Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. With the launch of Season 5 Reloaded today, we got a brand new SMG now available, the Lachmann Shroud, an integrated suppressor MP5 essentially. And today we're going through the best ways to unlock this gun because it is a bit different from some of the other weapons that we've seen drop with mid-season updates, and also the best loadout slash class setups for it for multiplayer and Warzone, and talking about whether or not it actually has a place in the meta. So first things first, this weapon is actually found in the battle pass, and as we get into the full breakdown of the Lachmann Shroud, quick reminder, if you guys are new here, every day I got you covered with news, updates, meta breakdowns, patch notes. If it has to do with Call of Duty, you'll find it here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. And if you enjoy the video, if you find it helpful at all, do me a favor, drop a like on it, would be really appreciated. But as far as the Lachmann Shroud goes, it's going to be in sector E0, technically is what it's called. And in order to actually unlock the Lachmann Shroud, you first have to do these 4 challenges for the 4 basic battle pass sector areas. And then you got to do the specific challenge for the Lachmann Shroud, and then it will unlock. So it took me about, I would say, a good hour to get all this done. Now, I wasn't being the most efficient because my game was crashing. I've been tweeting and whatnot. If you don't follow me over there, feel free to at WhosImmortal. But first things first, the pickaxe. You have to unlock this before you get the MP5 Shroud or the Lachmann Shroud. And for this, you need to get 15 operator kills with melee weapons. Just drop in a shipment, either core or hardcore shipment. Use a knife, use the any melee weapon really that you want to use, and go swinging, right? 15 operator kills. It has to be against real players, but not too difficult. You can get that done in like 2 minutes of a shipment match, right? The first double weapon XP token. Get 3 operator kills without dying 20 times. So 23 kill streaks, basically. Tedious really is what this is. I mean, shipment is decent for it if you can post up in a nice spot, but really this one is going to come down to your level of skill. Use a gun that you are comfortable with, a weapon that you know the control of, that you know you can fry with, and just go for those 3 kill streaks. These do stack, by the way, so if you get a 6 kill streak, that counts for 2. A 9 kill streak counts for 3, so on and so forth. For the 9mm Demon Pistol or Damon Pistol, you need 15 operator headshot kills with pistols. The way I did this was I just dropped into some hardcore. I used the FTAC Siege because that's a super easy pistol. I got that done in about 2 games of hardcore shipment as well, so that one was not too difficult. Then the final double weapon XP token is to get 20 operator long shot kills. This is by far the most time-consuming part of this unlock. Drop into hardcore. You could use like a pistol or an SMG that's going to be the smallest long shot range basically, and you know, just go for those headshots. You might be able to knock out some of the pistol headshots and long shots at the same time if you're using the FTAC Siege. That's what I tried to do, and ultimately shipment 24/7 is the best for the headshot grind, but long shots, hardcore is going to be your best friend. And then after you do those 4, you can do the 30 operator hipfire kills with SMG, so you have to get 30 hipfire kills against real players while using a sub. Again, very simple, just drop in a shipment 24/7. This took me less than 1 game to get done. After you do all of that, then you'll have the Lachmann Shroud unlocked. And this actually takes 11 levels to fully level up here, so it's not too bad. But really, this is just like an extension to the MP5. I'm really surprised that they didn't just go through and go to the Lachmann sub and add in a new barrel that's like an integrated suppressor. Instead, they made this a full new weapon, and it's also only 3-round burst or semi-auto. There is no fully auto. So if we go in the gunsmith here real quick before we start looking at the class setup and talking about its meta breakdown, you can see burst. And it's not a particularly fast burst either. Now you can spam it back to back to back, but it's kind of obnoxious having to spam a trigger with a close range weapon. And if you don't want to use burst, you can use semi-auto, which is also incredibly awkward, right? So right off the rip, this is an awkward weapon. Now, it being a sub, obviously you're not going to be using it at super long ranges, and you can see that even here, you know, in the firing range where the dummies are the lowest health, it's not particularly great in the mid-range, and especially in the longer range. Right now, close range, viable for sure, a consistent 1 to 2 burst if you're hitting upper body shots, but initially this thing does not stand out. And really, I'm quite surprised by this, because you would think that with the unlock criteria for this, having to actually spend some time going through and getting the long shots, getting the other 2 weapons, you'd make this a rewarding thing so that people would go through and spend more time unlocking those other ones. But this is mediocre as can be. I thought this was going to be just a god tier weapon initially when they announced, hey, it's going to be a new MP5 variant, a whole new weapon, because the MP5 is already great. But then they said, oh, also, it's a burst SMG, burst or semi-auto, and that kind of killed the hype for me. And that kill the hype certainly lives up to the expectations. This thing does not stand out, especially when you factor in Warzone damage with the plates. It's just too much effort for such a low reward. It's not all that great. But if you want to use it, I recommend at least trying it out. The setup that I have here, I would actually share between multiplayer and Warzone because it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So initially here, the TCG-10 rear grip gonna just offer some control because there isn't an ADS and sprint-to-fire based rear grip here. So I just go ahead and I tune for that inverse instead, getting the ADS and sprint-to-fire out of that. In multiplayer or Warzone, I'd probably upgrade to the 40-round mag just because if you miss shots with this thing, it's very unforgiving even in multiplayer because of that burst aspect, which is going to hinder it a ton for a lot of players and probably be a major turnoff for a lot of players with that, unfortunately. So 40-round mag I feel like is sufficient for both modes. You could even upgrade to 50 if you wanted to for Warzone. That's totally personal preference there. I go for the overpressured ammo here, the 9mm sub OP. It's obviously not going to have any enemy skulls because this is actually subsonic overpressured, and then also it induces that target flinch. It makes enemies have that increased flinch whenever you land shots. That said, honestly, any of the ammo types here are going to be decent. Like hollow point for that crippling power is going to be decent. Frangible is going to be decent as well. Like any of those would be sufficient in my opinion. It's kind of like a pick your poison type of deal there. I also go for the 7mm laser, pretty standard for that better ADS and sprint to fire, just making this a bit more snappy and a bit more aggressive. And then I like the mobile stock. They actually just updated this one a bit today to make it a bit better in general for mobility. So you're getting some good sprint speed, strafe speed, ADS speed out of that. If you wanted to go all the way up to stockless, you could try that as well. It might have a bit more recoil though, and that might affect your burst accuracy and in turn actually hinder the weapon more in gunfights. So just take that into consideration. There are now 2 new barrels because of this. That said, the Dark Star for the better mobility, and then also the Grapple 6 for better range, velo, and control. This is something that maybe you could get away with using on like an MP5 to see if it's going to be a bit more of a sniper support style build, but ultimately I feel like speed and aggression is what's going to thrive between this and the standard Lachmann sub as well. And this really just feels like it's quite a filler gun that's not all that impressive, unfortunately. It gets the job done, but not in any simple way, right? You're still way better off using a Vaznev MP7 P90 ISO regular MP5, right? Which is a bit disappointing that you got to actually put in a decent amount of work to unlock this thing through those 4 weapon challenges, and then the base weapon challenge for this, all for a sub that's not really all that crazy. But that being said, that is effectively going to wrap things up for this one. That is the Lachmann Shroud highlighted here for multiplayer Warzone. The best way to unlock it as well. Is it meta? Ultimately, no, not really. It's a pretty mediocre weapon at the end of the day. But hey, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful at all, maybe save you some time not going through the pain of unlocking this and leveling it up, feel free to let me know by dropping a like on the video. And if you are new here, you want to guarantee you are always up to date with all things going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out as well. And as always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code WHosImmortal for a spicy discount on all Gamer Advantage, G Fuel, and Control Freak products. The links for all those can be found down in the description below. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.